Good afternoon, 1 o'clock Central Standard Time, December 7th. Currently have the Dow down 525. We gave a sell there a few days ago at the highs. Didn't like the action up there. Had a technometer reading that was overbought. Gave some stock charts that look very bad, so we're going to go over those. We're looking for a bad close today and still lower prices. We've got the Wyckoff wave in front of us, 3-month chart. This is showing the sell. Dow was up 440 Monday morning, and it was around 230 up when we came on and said we didn't like the action. Technometer was up there near overbought. It didn't close there. And today we're 39.76. There has been a little bit of volume on the sell-off, so we expect to continue lower. So we're not buying this sell-off or not buying the close. Let's go to WWG, Wyckoff wave growth. Once again, had to sell Monday at the highs and did a pretty good recovery yesterday off the lows, but we didn't think that was worthwhile. And then today we're turning back down. Technometer here, 40.81. So still lower here, we think, as well. Then we've got the TLT. This is one that we had been short. We're showing those sells here, but we had to stop at this high. So we had mentioned here before liftoff that when the Dow was up to 440, TLT was coming under no pressure, and technometer was down at 39. So we did not like being short there. We did not go to long, but that definitely was the trade Monday. Now let's go through some of the Wyckoff components. Some of these were not very good chart patterns. We're going to go to the 1 year. We talked about Boeing. We did not like the way it rallied back to previous resistance where these previous test was. So that was around 361, 362. So a quick $40 lower there. Technometer was major overbought, which we had that on a lot of the Wyckoff wave components. We're setting at 43.79, which is neutral. So we expect more downside on Boeing. Bank of America. It also was back at previous resistance. You can see how some of these charts really turned lower. It was back here at the 2850 level and has collapsed to new lows. So that chart does not look very good at all. You had Bristol Myers. We're going to go through our usual ones here. Nothing really new that we're looking at. Bristol Myers has held the last 4 days, and technometer still at 50.28. But this is one that we're not really interested in either. Caterpillar is one that we had said was definitely at a very precarious situation on the chart. It had rallied back to its highs. That's the one that we gave as a short sell for our pro traders. It was up here 139.98, I believe it was, or 95. That one's getting ready to, looks like, continued lower. Technometer was major overbought. We're back to 45. So Caterpillar, we still think has lower to go. Ford also came back to previous resistance, back there at the 990 level, and now took out the lows of a couple of weeks ago, headed lower. We are oversold. So Ford, this could have been a spring. We could be testing here. We don't like the 4 days of volume, but this is one to watch. Maybe we're getting a change of character, possibly in Ford. General Electric, not much reason to waste time on this one. It had not rallied at all, and the last 4 days has just continued to work lower. Technometer still overbought. No interest in General Electric. IBM is one that's been a poor performer. It did have an ABC rally back, and Monday did catch resistance on that, and we have had a turn lower from about 125 down to 119.50. Technometer 46, so still lower in IBM. AT&T, one that we have talked about liking the chart, wanting to watch it here. Same type of thing, we're back to support. Technometer still overbought, so we're not going to do anything with this one here, but anxious to see how it acts next week. Union Pacific. Has been in a nice uptrend, still been a stronger holding for us. And we talked about it coming back down. It had rallied up to the overbought line of the uptrend. We mentioned it coming back down to the support line. So that is happening. Technometer still neutral. So let it come back down a little bit more. Walmart, we thought maybe had a little bit change of character. We'd mentioned we didn't really like the action. This was a pretty weak rally, so once again, we went from 98 down to 93. Technometer is oversold, but this one looks like to me maybe some type of sideways, not continued higher for the time being. ExxonMobil, one that's also kind of been in a trading range. It was near the top. Now we're back near the bottom. Technometer basically neutral. Still lower there as well. DWDP, Dow DuPont. We've talked about its downtrend, and it did have a little ABC. This was very weak and moved from 59 or 60 down to 54.40. So this one's still a weak holding. No interest there. Advanced Micro Devices, one that we had gave live on air, that we liked it over here at 1792. We would have taken profits up here at 23.30 or so, 23, and it is pulling back here at 1972. That's one we probably still like if we turn bullish on stocks. Twilio is one we've talked about longer term. Great holding. Continues to work higher. Having a tough day today, but this one is just off its highs at 98 and change. So holding in nicely. I would guess we've reached our longer term objectives. We would probably look for a reaccumulation here. So that's one we want to look at to be a buyer in the future. Wingstop is one that was good to us earlier in the year. It also up here working sideways. Last 4 days has worked a little bit lower, but holding in. Technometer near oversold. This is one that still looks possibly still good. Tractor Supply, one that we like longer term with the ag business. We did look for it to come back some because it was kind of testing an upthrust. So still in this trading range, could come down to this 85 support before we'd be interested in that one again. UUP, the long dollar ETF, something that we're wanting to be short. And Technometer still oversold, which has kept us from being short. But any further weakness here, we're going to wonder if the high wasn't already placed here. So the 26 level could have been, the high could be in, and we could be ready to work lower. But that's one we think is topping out. GDX, gold miners, one we've talked about liking. It is trying to work higher. So it did come off a really neutral reading technometer. We're now at 50. So I'm not sure we're going to extend the gains here. American Barrick is one that we've liked, and it is working up to near its highs of October 23rd. But once again, technometer is overbought, so these could slow up here and continue to work sideways. Square is one that we're waiting on to give us a buy signal. This is one where the technometer has been unbelievably helpful on picking trades. We do have a 42 in the technometer. We're showing that oversold is a 38 level that we've marked before. We do not have that. We do expect lower prices. Not impressed by this extra weakness and 50% rally back. So this one we're not jumping on early. We're going to wait, be a little more patient. Twitter is one that we've talked about we like still longer term. The last 4 days it has worked sideways, which does bode well for what we think is longer term strength. Technometer's 48 because it's not pulling back. So this is one that still can surprise you to the upside. Cake is one we've talked about being weak, and it continued down to new lows. We had the markings here of a buying climax, sign of weakness, last point of supply. So there isn't really downside objectives much lower on this one. So we'd expect a little lower, but that'd probably be really the rest, not much more to the downside. Regeneron is one that we like longer term, and it is holding in nicely. Had a nice rally here from 330 to 395. Last 4 days, really trying to hold the gains. Technometer neutral. This is a SOS, the last point of support. This one, I think, is going to break higher when the Dow's ready. So definitely keep your eye on Regeneron. Disney. Also one that we was watching for a long position. And this here is a 112. Has came down a little bit, but still holding what was resistance at 109. This is one that we're still watching, see about getting long. Last but not least, Cisco Systems. One that we kept our eye on to be long. Last 4 days, it's held in pretty well here. So this is one also that could look higher. So that's all for now. Let's look for lower into the weekend, lower early next week, and we'll try to get back on here and give an update. Good trading.